walk on part in a war, a lead role in a cage. You see that? You see that? You know, the Rambo is better than any of us if he can be sure to get that Zippo he stole from that deuce and a half driver and get it on the first shot and throw it in and blow it up. Takes a good soldier to do that. Sometimes it takes a few lights. Sometimes it takes not just fate, but destiny to make it work. I'm here to give you a valuable piece of information right now. Right now. I could have done it yesterday, but I guess if I didn't think about it, it wasn't the right time. Right now. We think of all the people in the military. And here's the thing. People get upset when I speak of the military. However, I just need you to understand that there are all kinds of people in the military. Some of them the military doesn't want. Some of them they want, but they can't get. They can't keep them. There's a whole world going on. This is a culture. And we are doing the same thing we do with prejudice. It is a form of prejudice to think that everybody in the military is this superhero. But think about it. Your uncles, the kid you went to high school with, you know what he did to that dog. These people, you know them as people, and you think, oh, they went into the military, now they're so powerful and true. What you need to remember is whatever they went into the military with was what they still are. Look what happened with Jeffrey Dahmer, Army medic. He just wanted to cut people up. He was going to go into combat. I will help you. And look around and cut people up. Jeffrey Dahmer. You know, these are the people in your military. And me too. See, and the thing is, what I'm getting at, I know you're probably gone already. Thing I'm getting at is that some of us, it's like my uncle telling me how he hid in Vietnam. He was a medic and he was scared shitless and he hid. I'm like, you're telling me this? I'm counting on you. But I had a military occupation specialty, an MOS. My job title is something that you probably wouldn't think much of. This is the interesting thing. This is what differentiates me from your uncles that had job titles. I'm not downplaying a medic at all. But some of those people, you look at Opham, or whatever the hell his name was in Saving Private Ryan. He was an interpreter. And he let people go that killed his friends. This is just a shithead that shouldn't be in a combat situation. That's the kind of job I had. It's funny. And you think, well, what the fuck? And I say, I don't know. I mean, they didn't know what to do with me. Even in 2003, 2004, I got back from China. I'm like, I need a job. I thought about re-enlisting just so I could write a book about me at that age, going through basic training again with combat patches and fucking airborne and fucking I don't have any suck-ass pins. I got a good conduct medal. That's what you get when you're in for 3 years without getting in trouble. I was in trouble all the time, but it was always case dismissed. I forced them to give me my good conduct medal. I went to the first sergeant when we were in Saudi before going to Iraq. I'm like, First Sergeant, I said, I've been in 3 years now. I said, when do I get my good conduct medal? He's like, ha! He hated me. He hated me. Everybody in my chain of command hated me. But then they'd get out and you'd see them and they're like, hey, how you doing, Autoquest? I'm like, what the fuck? I thought you hated me. And you don't say I thought you hated me, but you realize everybody in my chain of command hated me because they had to take the ass end of everything that I was doing. There were people above them saying, you got to keep that guy in line. I had no job that was anything like you would ever imagine. But I got in trouble, and they would send me to Robin Sage, third phase of Special Forces training, when these people graduate to become Special Forces operatives, and they're on a first-name basis with you and everybody else, and there's no bullshit. I got sent out for 2 weeks. They acted like it was a punishment to me. They didn't know what to do with me. And I got trained in guerrilla warfare by the Special Forces out in the woods, fucking counting steps and backtracking and pulling little, what was high-tech shit at the time, sending satellite messages up to, out of a little briefcase. We were doing shit. They were teaching us how to fucking kill everybody. We jumped in because they only took the paratroopers to be their little fucking guerrilla people, and I love these people. I could have stayed there. And then a year later, I asked him again at the unit. I said, hey, when do they do that Robin Sage thing again? I was volunteering, and they were freaked out because they thought they were punishing me. And I went and I crawled through the mud, and we blew up bridges, and there were helicopters coming in. I mean, come on, man. I realized this is where I'm supposed to be. Only I couldn't be held by a contract. That's the Army taught me, commitment. I want to be able to move when I want to move and see what I want to see. I got to see parts of the world in the military, but I am not your uncle. I did shit. I was hanging out of helicopters. They just didn't know what the fuck to do with me, so they just kept sending me, and I was just... And I will tell you this. If your uncle's got a gut, it means he wasn't a super soldier back then either. I was. They hated my mind, but they loved my body. It's just like the girls. Cigarette went out. What I'm saying is your uncle and your cousin, all these people that come back acting like they're something special, even if they are doing cool shit. I had a friend that was in the first cav. When he would see me when we were back home, he's like, is that shit true? Telling stories about the things that we were doing. I'm like, well, isn't everybody like that? And I realized, well, if you're not jumping out of an airplane, you haven't reached the point where you don't give a fuck about anything yet in your life. And sometimes you don't give a fuck about anything in your life, and that's the path to the future. For the fool. Who cares? Let's go see something. What I'm telling you, these people, your uncles and your cousins, Oppum, whatever the hell his name was, in Saving Private Ryan that got his friends killed, these people really aren't trained highly. They're just trained enough. You have to be an asshole and an anomaly bordering on singularity If you want to get in enough trouble to get fucking trained, I had a lot of fun experiences when we were in Iraq. There's things that I can't talk about. I have pictures that I made into Christmas cards. And everybody that got one loved it, and those that didn't wanted one. I can't show you those. I mean, you know, it's not just about taking pictures of people. It's about fulfilling a goal from when you were a young child in Catholic school on the bus, and the one kid had pictures from World War II that his grandpa had. He stole them and showed them to us. I mean, like, and I remember thinking, if I ever go to war, here I'm a little kid, and I had no intention to join the military. I didn't play Army. I didn't play this bullshit that kids do that don't join. I didn't act like I was going to war and then getting out or wanting to go to war. That's getting out and then joining a militia. Nobody wanted any of that. I was just a little kid, and I said, if I ever go to war, I want to take pictures of things. So at some point, my children will be able to be cool for once in their life. What I'm saying, you can't ask what I do or did, because I did things and I had secret clearance, which is not top secret, but I had secret so I could be with the top secret people, and I was everywhere you want to be. I got to see cool things. Your uncle that got out after his 2, 3, 4, 6 years, that wants to be a warrior, he could have stayed a little bit longer and gotten to a war on his own. Your cousin who just graduated and whatever. Be careful around the people that act like they're very, very militant, because it's my opinion they weren't any good at it to begin with.